Welcome to the Eat Y'all podcast, where we discuss the struggles and successes of the farmers, food producers, and chefs who are working to get better ingredients into restaurants today and to ensure their availability in the future.
Welcome back to the Eat Y'all podcast. We have had quite a year. Hope you have too. This week is going to kick off a few best of episodes. We're going to have encore presentations, bringing back a few of our most popular and impactful episodes. So hope you will enjoy this. This week, we're going to kick it off with a trip down memory lane back to Two Brooks Farm in the Mississippi Delta. And this is a rice farm that's growing a lot of different varieties of rice that chefs are using. And they're doing it a little bit differently or a lot differently than many of their neighbors. So we're going to visit with three chefs: John Cartwright, Milton Joachim, Ryan Cassell, and then we're going to finish up with Mike Wagner from Two Brooks Farm, who is he's the father, he's a farmer, and he's a trustee of nature up there. He does a lot of work to actually improve the land that he's working with. So you'll hear about his kind of mindset and what they do in the Delta to really take care of the land and to make a incredible crop of healthy, safe, and eco-friendly rice that benefits not just the people who eat the rice, but also the entire ecosystem around it. So hope you enjoy. Merry Christmas, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Welcome to what is the last episode in our season, recorded on the front porch of the farm out there at Two Brooks in Sumner, Mississippi, with Two Brooks Rice and the chefs from Chef Camp. So this episode, we're going to talk to Chef Milton Joachim. We're going to talk to John Cartwright, and we're going to talk to Ryan Cassell. And here's a funny thing about Ryan's episode. Y'all, these Chef Camp recordings they're not done under duress, but you've heard dogs barking, you've heard crickets, you've heard a lot of things. And so it can be very distracting to do what essentially, it's not live, but it's pre-recorded, but it's in the middle of a lot of things going on. And so there's some kind of funny flubs and where I butchered Ryan's restaurant's name. And, I thought y'all should get the full deal and see what it's like. So we're going to leave a little bit more of that in there this time. And I'm just going to bounce you from episode to episode, from interview to interview inside of this one, and we'll wrap up this season. Thanks so much for listening. Enjoy this. For the Eat Y'all podcast, I am here with Milton Joachim, my man from Charred restaurant down in Ocean Springs, Mississippi. Milton, welcome to the Chef Camp podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So we've talked about Chef Camp several times, but this is your maiden voyage to an Eat Y'all Chef Camp. What's some first thoughts? What's going through your mind right now?
On the drive up is coming through all the farms, you're seeing different things, stuff you don't normally see every day in your day-to-day routine. Soybean fields, rice fields. Really don't know what you're looking at, and then getting here and seeing the whole process of how everything works is really cool. Yeah,
it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, definitely in the middle of nowhere. I got to the location and it still took me 45 minutes to get to the house.
Oh yeah, we did have some with the rain. We had to make some modifications for which roads were good to drive on, but because you're driving through turn rows, which is the edge of fields where the tractors turn around. So sometimes those can get a little muddy just for a pickup truck.
Yeah, it could be fun, but a little sticky. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
So Milton, tell folks what some of the things you did today and what you walked away with learning.
Well, we came up here and, walked us through. Actually, we drove through his property, showing us the different types of rice that they're growing. They're black rice, red rice. And then they brought us to the milling part of their farm and showed us how it came in and, their columbine?
Yeah, the combine.
Once it goes from being cut walking us through step by step through their whole process of how they break it down and clean out the bad rice, and their machine that blows the rice out that doesn't fit the color that they're looking for, just with like a little burst of air. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, the color sorter is incredible piece of machinery. That Lawrence said that they could take a bucket of seed and put 3 little tiny weed seeds in there that were black in a white rice bucket, run it through the color sorter, and the only thing missing would be the three weed seeds. That's pretty amazing technology.
Yeah, if you have a machine that could blow out different color grains of rice, I mean, that's pretty awesome.
So what else did you do today?
Well, we went on a dove hunt in a sunflower field.
You a big hunter, Milton?
Yeah, grew up duck hunting, fishing. I love it. And so coming up here, being able to do that was definitely an added bonus on top of seeing everything of the operation.
What would you tell somebody who was asking you, like, hey, what's Chef Camp all about?
It's really unique. It's not coming up maybe necessarily like a camp that you would think. You're really out in the field, getting your hands dirty, touching the product as it's growing out the ground. You don't really get to do that too many other places, or food vendors, or going to somebody's warehouse. You can't do that there. You come here, you get the product, you get to see the soil that it's growing out of. It's pretty awesome. Definitely a great experience.
So you would recommend it to others?
Absolutely.
And have you met some new folks?
Yeah, I met people from Madison. They working right outside of Jackson, Auburn. A couple guys from
Florence, Alabama.
Alabama. All local guys that normally wouldn't meet. Just that close to home at other great restaurants.
So, and what would you tell somebody about the rice they're growing here? Anything special or different, unique about it that from what you learned today?
Yeah, I learned about their red rice, which I thought was pretty cool. I worked with their black rice before, so I'm looking forward to getting back to the restaurant, playing with their red rice and seeing what we could put together with that.
Awesome. And you mentioned you've done some stuff with the black rice. What kind of dishes have you used it in?
Well, I used the black rice. I did a coconut, lime, and cilantro. Used that as my base to cook the black rice, and I finished it off in the oven. So it soaked up all that flavor. I went with a little pan-seared tuna and confit heirloom tomatoes.
That sounds pretty good, Milton. I'm getting hungry again. And we just had some pretty doggone good food, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. That pork loin we had with your, I believe that was your sauce.
No, that was not Sugar Taylor sauce. That was a sauce that Walt made.
We put that on there. It was.
Oh, did you pour some Sugar Taylor on the table out there on it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Well, you did have Sugar Taylor sauce.
Oh, yes. And it was delicious.
There you go.
Probably ate more than I should have.
You can get that for your restaurant, Milton, if you need it. Sugar Taylor sauce. I can hook you up.
I'm definitely gonna have to get some of that.
I know the guy. So, well, awesome, Milton. Thanks for jumping in and visiting with us here at Chef Camp and braving the mosquitoes and whatever else is flying out around here out on the porch. And I enjoyed having you here, man.
Absolutely, I enjoyed being here. Thank you. Okay.
Milton, how are folks going to be able to find your restaurant and you on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever the media?
So Instagram is Charred Steak and Oyster Bar. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, same thing, Charred Steak and Oyster Bar. Restaurant's located downtown Ocean Springs, 1019 Government Street.
And that's Ocean Springs, Mississippi. And people that want to find you on Instagram can look at...
Instagram is Chef Milton Joachim, and on Facebook it's Milton Joachim.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Milton.
Thank you.
All right, sitting here with Ryan Cassell from Fenian's Pub. All right, let's try that again. It's been a long night.
I don't even know where I work.
All right,
Flanagan's
shenanigans. It's got the Lucky Clover thing.
Yeah, Lucky Charms.
EATYALL Radio. We are sitting down with Ryan Cassell, chef at Fenian's Pub there on Fortification Street in Jackson, Mississippi. One of my favorite places to stop in for a bite to eat in Jackson. Ryan, welcome to the EATYALL podcast.
Good to be here.
Ryan, this is your second time out here to Chef Camp. Talk about what you learned, or what the reason you come to Chef Camp.
It's a good time. You got good people out here. It's good to kind of network with other chefs around from the Southeast and stuff. And the Wagners are awesome, and they're very knowledgeable about what they do and care a lot about what they do. And as a chef, doing anything in restaurant business, you want to know where your product comes from, and to actually meet the people that do that and see the work that they put into it and the knowledge they have about their product is extremely impressive.
So you have some of their rice in your restaurant. How have you used it?
We use the rice flour. We use it in our beer batter for fish and chips. We use
so that makes it a gluten-free.
No, we actually use flour too.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, it's over time kind of evolved, and it just turns out it's a good combination with it mixed. So not gluten-free, but gives us a little extra crunch on there, a little extra flavor.
Nice.
So.
And then have you done any specials or anything with some of their other products?
Yeah, we've used stuff before. Like I used the black rice in the dish I made, bring up here for lunch today, and it's all really high quality stuff. It's good, it's flavorful, consistent stuff.
What would you tell another chef who's thinking about coming to Chef Camp?
I'd say definitely do it. It's a good time. It's a bunch of good people to go shoot some birds or whatever's on the docket. And just being able to see the actual farm and the process of milling the rice and all that stuff is it's really neat, definitely.
How important are ingredients to your restaurant? How important is it to have a better ingredient when you can find it?
That's the most important thing in the food game, really. A dish is the sum of its ingredients, and each piece of the dish, everything that goes into it, the better the quality is, the better the final product's going to be. So yeah, huge. And even at the pub, we use a lot of local products, local farmers. Try to support local communities as much as you can, and then being able to actually meet those people and know where it's coming from. And as chefs, you're always kind of putting your heart on the plate, your heart and soul into your work. It's hard work, and there's a lot of love that goes into that stuff, and it is on the production side as well. So
yeah, it was really neat to see just how much work it is to get that kernel from the field in the grain, through the combine, in the grain buggy, to the grain bin, through the mill, and into a bag.
Yep, whole deal.
It's a neat deal. Well, Ryan, thanks for taking a few minutes and visiting, man.
Yeah, anytime.
All right, this episode of Chef Camp, we are sitting down with John Cartwright from Florence, Alabama, Rivertown Coffee. John, welcome to the EATYALL podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We are really excited to have you out here at Chef Camp. We're sitting on the porch of the camp house out here and fighting some mosquitoes, but having a good time doing it.
Yeah, not too bad.
John, tell folks about your restaurant and what you guys do over there.
So, Rivertown Coffee in Florence, Alabama, and we've been there. It'll be 14 years in October. We opened up in October 2004, and was just looking for a place to do a coffee shop. I quickly realized in coffee that you can't make a living just making coffee, and needed to figure something else out. So we started doing food pretty quickly after we opened, and that's grown over the years into us doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And
So you're way more than just a coffee shop.
yeah, we do a lot of food for sure. So yeah, it's been great. I wasn't a cook going in. I liked food a lot, but had to kind of learn on the fly, and it's been good. And I spend a lot more time in the kitchen than I do at an espresso machine now. So
Gotcha. So John, this is your inaugural visit to a chef camp. What did you learn today?
I was just very excited about seeing the process of the farm, and it's always good to see. You can easily buy a bag of rice from anybody, and but to see a product that people care about so much, and to see the faces who actually day in and day out handle that product, and that's really special. And so it's really great.
Do you use a lot of rice right now?
We do. So we do a lot of. Our big thing is sandwiches and soups, and so we do red beans and rice on Mondays, because that's when you do red beans and rice. And
Absolutely, I think it's a rule.
yeah, it is. And we do gumbo, and so we do rice with that. And so yeah, we have some. And then throughout the spring and summer, we do a variety of salads, and so we'll do. We mix in things into things like wild rice, and we use some of the red rice in some of our specials throughout the summer. And so yeah, it's a great product to use.
What would you tell a chef who is thinking about coming to chef camp?
Oh man, it's a great experience. You get to relax. You don't actually have to cook a lot, and
We can change that.
I mean, I'm happy to cook, but you get to spend a lot of time, talk shop with other chefs, and spend time with people who care about food, which is always a plus.
Thanks so much for visiting with us, and we're looking forward to getting over to Florence, Alabama to visit you guys again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right, so you made it all the way through, and we really enjoyed having you along for the ride this season. It was so much fun doing this. All of these episodes basically were recorded in about a 2-hour time frame one night on the porch at the rice farm. So a lot of fun doing that. We hope to see you out for a chef camp sometime soon. You can visit eatyall.com/chefs to connect with us, and we would love to get to know you and your restaurant and what you're doing. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. All right, well, hello. Today we talked to Mike Wagner from Two Brooks Farm, recorded live on the porch again at Chef Camp outside of Sumner, Mississippi, up in Tallahatchie County. Mike is one of the most interesting farmers that we've ever talked to, and we think you'll agree when you hear this interview. We're going to talk about all sorts of intricate parts of the rice farming world, and I think Mike is he's kind of like the Dos Equis man. He's one of the most interesting people I've ever met. Definitely one of the smartest farmers I've ever met. We'll get into all of that, but I think you'll really enjoy this episode with Mike Wagner from Two Brooks Farm. Well, we are here at Chef Camp, sitting on the front porch with Mike Wagner. Mike, welcome to the Eat Y'all podcast.
Thank you very much, Andy.
It is my pleasure to be a guest yet again at Two Brooks Farm, and bring with me 12 or so of my closest chef friends, I guess, to visit out here and learn about rice and the terroir in which it is grown.
Well, glad you're here.
Talk about your farm and what you guys are doing with not just having a rice that's a commodity rice, but so many different varieties. Like, when did you start thinking about rice in 4D or 5D or whatever this is, with just so much?
30 years ago at a college class, 35 years ago, when I learned the word vertical integration. But, of course, I never had the opportunity to do that. I bought this place and developed it, and started looking forward to having children back, and land has gotten expensive, so I didn't want to have to buy more. I looked for ways to vertically integrate. So we built a rice mill. We started growing different varieties, more health-conscious varieties for the consumer. And along the way, with the development of the farm, we accidentally found that we were serving our local ecosystem and the environment as well. So our system of production, which is very unique in the South, serves not just mankind, but the ecosystem and environment and all nature.
Well, and talk about, you guys have a brand called Eco Grown on your rice. What does that mean?
We have fields that a third of our production of rice is in a conventional system like anyone in the South would do. 2/3 of it's in a permanent rice culture that and a lot of permanent crop cultures have been disparaged in the world. But this one continually serves a plethora, a whole layers of ecology, from little annelids, microscopic fungi and whatnot, up through crawfish, then into feeder animals. So we have then ducks and geese, which turn around and eat a lot of the weed seeds we might have generated through the growing season, and fertilize and till our soil for us. So it's quite an integrated system that it serves wildlife and our purposes on the farm.
And a lot of that you just described, as far as like the ducks and the geese, and them being your built-in herbicide to both till and knock down the straw after the harvest. But I mean, you guys have an incredible wildlife habitat out here.
Yeah, it's unique. I know of a lot of wildlife refuges that don't have the waterfowl potential that we have, and much less the shorebirds. We have a full, because the fields are clean in the spring after the ducks and geese, we'll have flights of shorebirds come in from the coast, from Latin America, South America. It's interesting to see.
Yeah, it's amazing to see that, and just driving through the field, seeing deer run through, or raccoons, all sorts of different animals are constantly out here.
Yeah.
You guys have a black rice, the sable.
Right.
You've got the red rice, the scarlet. You've got the jasmine, the basmati, the Delta Bell.
Right.
What's been the most interesting thing to you about seeing all these different products now, after so many years, go into the hands of just chefs here in Mississippi, and then all over the country, and now all over the world?
Well, I'm just happy that they realize the value, one, in I think the very high quality rices we grow, and certainly the unique qualities of rices that we grow. But they realize the value for their consumers, but they also realize what we're doing for the environment. And whenever they support us, we're able to do more along the lines of what is my mission in life, which is to help other farmers understand the value of being very proactive, not just being very proactive in helping sustain or build their environment. I'm not a big fan of sustainability. I love to build something. And we built our organic matter levels, more carbon sequestration, better water retention, better water filtration. So whenever a chef comes out and we can explain this to them, then maybe other people will recognize the value, other farmers will recognize the value and move that direction.
And what you're doing is good for the environment. It's using, Lawrence was talking about how much, I think it was water per acre, and things that you guys are using less natural resources, but you're also, like when you use water I've seen you guys talk about taking muddy water on one end of your farm,
right,
and putting it in that first field and moving it through the different fields, and then it comes out the other end, and it's still water, but it's also
clean.
Talk about that process,
that filtration. When we might lift water out of a bio on the north end of the place, and it would move through 5 or 6 different fields, and as it moves through, it settles out whatever would have picked up in the bio that wasn't ours, and mud or whatever. And when it's emitted, it goes into streams that inevitably make it to the Gulf. We want it to be exhausted of not just sediment, mud. We want clean waterways, but we also want it to be to have the nutrients exhumed so that our rice can use it, and there's nothing but clean water going into the discharge system.
Well, I have seen that firsthand, and it's fascinating to see this beautiful crystal clear water on the edge of a rice field. When I know that's not the case in a lot of farms around here. Talk about the nutritional. I know you've spent a lot of time on the science of finding the grain to grow on a specific piece of dirt that's going to work. But talk about the nutrients. I know some of these rices have some incredible nutritional benefits.
Yeah. Well, I'm fairly health conscious. I think that you're no better than the calorie you poke through your mouth. If you're using poor quality calories to energize yourself, then you get what you pay for. So we've always trying to grow higher amylose rices, things that are more glucose, better for your glucose intolerance and that sort of thing.
And what for somebody out there who doesn't know amylose, what does the amylose content mean?
Okay, starches. Well, one, you have sugars and starches. Rice, you have amylose and you have amylopectin. Amylose is a straight-line starch that breaks down very slowly so that it releases its energy, its sugars, into your blood system at a slower rate. Amylopectin is more in medium grains, and it's a quick-release starch. It goes to sugar, and it's not good for people that are glucose challenged. The rices we strive to grow, discarding the jasmine, which is a medium amylose rice, but our Delta Bell and our Missamati and the Scarlet and the they're high amylose rices. They break down slowly in your digestion system and give you sustained energy.
Really? So it's a healthier rice than just a lot of other varieties out there.
That's right. And our our brown rices, our Beulah Tan and the Beulah Medley, our Delta Bell line, Beulah Tan line, are smaller kernels. They're 15% smaller than any rices in the U.S. as far as a long grain. They still maintain those loose cooking qualities, but they harbor more of the bran than normal brown rices do. So they're inherently healthier rices. The scarlet rice has 5 times the antioxidants of our brown rice. The sable is 8 times the antioxidants of our brown rice. Those are phenomenal numbers. That's better than a serving of blueberries or perhaps not as tasty as a glass of nice Syrah, but it's hiked up in anthocyanins.
Really?
Yeah.
So you don't get a sugar buzz from rice like this as opposed to, and I use that word loosely, I'm not a scientist, but it sounds like you guys are doing some things with just the quality of the grain. What about the flavor of rice? I mean, there's a lot of different rices. If somebody walks into a store or a food distributor or whatever, and you can get a jasmine, you can get a basmati, but I'm hearing chefs say, okay, I tried this jasmine, I tried their jasmine, and it's got more flavor. Is that something how does the flavor of rice get defined?
Well, I'll say one, naturally. Ours literally is not grown over 3 miles from our on-farm mill. Some of it's grown feet from our on-farm mill. So it's inherently a fresher product than you're going to get from Thailand or anywhere else in the world, or a lot of times in the U.S. But two, it has everything to do with terroir. I can't remember the great little French vintner. He grows 2 acres, 1.5 hectares of grapes, but he tastes his soil. He tastes it every year, and he can taste he knows that there's a functions in his soil that make better quality grapes. And I think I can go to different places on our farm, especially on our eco-grown fields, and the soil tastes sweeter. It tastes, it's quicker released energy, minerals, and than our conventionally grown rice. And I think that's expressed in the rice flavor.
So the actual apples to apples is such a silly comparison, I guess, because grain to grain, right? I could take the same seed grain and put it in 3 different test plots of dirt with, I'm using dirt, you're using terroir, but the actual dirt is what's making some of that flavor come out.
It'd be different. It's difficult to quantify that, but yeah, I think everything adds up.
Wow. Well, Mike, it has been a tremendous pleasure for me and for so many chefs to get to visit your farm, and you guys are incredible hosts and very generous with these chefs that come out here and get to hunt and get to see how everything is made and grown. And I appreciate you having us out here for Chef Camp.
Well, thank you very much. It's God gave us the privilege of being here, and we want to share the privilege.
All right. Well, thank you, Mike. Mike Wagner, Two Brooks Farm.
You've been listening to the Eat Y'all podcast, hosted by Eat Y'all founder and chief relationship officer, Andy Chapman. If you enjoyed this episode, it would mean the world to us if you'd join us in our mission to save family farms by subscribing and leaving a review. Even better, share this episode and follow us on your favorite social media account at Let's Eat Y'all.